Welcome to the show. We at Trucking Life welcome you all. Now, pull that rig over, hit the head, grab a drink and snack, settle in, and let's get this show on the road. And now, your host.
Hi guys, my phone fell down right middle of that intro, so I'm glad I got it up before we actually went live for a minute. Hey guys, good morning. It's a beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning here in Longview, Texas. I'm in the car because I wanted to make sure I had a solid signal for today's show, guys. It was important enough topic that we want to make sure we're getting the information out to you. Jed, go ahead and bring Ange in. Let's say hi to everybody. And
hello.
Let me just say welcome to the show, guys. Hello, hello, everybody. Got Miami Pink Panther with her awesome pink headphones there.
Hey, got to make sure that we can hear everybody, right?
That's right. That's right. So, before we get this hot topic started, and it is a hot topic, guys, we'll go into some pretty in-depth information that we have been researching over the last few days. But before we do that, I'm just going to, give a little bit of update of what we're doing, where we're at, and then I'll pass over to Anne to do the same. Good morning, Ed. Hey, so a lot of you know, if you've been following what Johnny and I were up to this last week, we went over to Tennessee, picked up the new Volvo. Johnny Dean's been like a child in a candy store with his new big boy toy, and he has been like excited about putting it all together, and he's just been bragging all the features. That's all we've heard about in our house for a couple days is all the excitement. Even Ange, when she came to visit yesterday in Texas, you guys, she got the tour.
I did. I got the grand tour. That is one nice truck.
Right? It's the Cadillac version of semis. Johnny Dean has officially stated that he is in, old man stage, and he's excited for no clutch. He's excited for his automatic, even though all the way from Tennessee, he kept trying to put his foot through the floor and grab a gear. It was hilarious. It was funny. But yeah, that's what's going on in our world. We're just getting ready to send Johnny Dean out. He's headed out tomorrow to load. And I believe that he's headed with a load of trailers to North Carolina. And then from there, I'm not sure. So that's what's happening in our neck of the woods. What's going on with you, Ange?
Well, I am in Texas. I am back on the road. Imagine
Woo-hoo!
that. Yay, back to work.
Right.
Yep. So I left out before the end of the week, and I am already in Texas, and I'm sitting here actually doing a 34. Imagine that. Drive for 2 days and then do a 34-hour restart. But waiting on a load tomorrow. So I'll be loading in the morning and heading out further west. So, and
awesome.
Anybody who's in Denton, Texas, at the TA, there's no showers, just in case you were
planning on that. No.
Yeah, that was not fun.
So are they doing construction, or what are they doing? What do they got going on?
Yeah, they are remodeling the entire inside, showers, bathrooms, laundry room.
Oh, okay.
So their solution is portables. If anybody knows the Tiki Hut in South Florida, the Tiki Hut is a better option today.
Oh my God.
I know, that's pretty bad.
That's a visual right there. That's a visual. For anybody who's been down that way, that's a total visual. Oh my gosh, you guys.
Yes.
Oh, how funny.
Yes, it is. So, but I am ready to do some talking about this.
Oh, you and me both. I'll tell you what. So I'm going to start out with breaking news. For those of you who have been following the situation, and if you're not current on what our topic is today, we are addressing the COVID-19 situation, vaccinated, unvaxxed, how it's affecting the trucking industry. It's a hot topic right now. It's a very fluid situation at the moment. This last week, the Supreme Court, and I'll back up just a little bit, you guys, back in November, when the Biden administration, the current administration, released their plans with OSHA to mandate companies that had over 100 employees that they had to be vaccinated or tested weekly. The ATA and at least 27 other states and trucking organizations that I've found so far have joined a lawsuit and are suing to stop the mandate, because their biggest concern that we're seeing across the board, and we'll talk about this more in depth, is the effect it's going to have worldwide. You know what I mean? It will have a worldwide ripple effect. It'll hit us hard here in the United States if that mandate goes into effect. And so we've been following this topic. What's happened this last week? OSHA did put that out there. The Supreme Court ruled on the lawsuit when these trucking organizations and state attorneys, these state attorneys, all jumped in on the lawsuit. The Supreme Court ruled just the other day saying that they were halting that requirement. They're halting that mandate. So this was a statement by ATA. It says, today ATA has won a tremendous victory on behalf of the trucking industry and workers and employers everywhere. Today's ruling by the Supreme Court validates our claim that OSHA far overstepped its authority in issuing an emergency temporary standard, the ETS that everybody's talking about, that would interfere with individuals' private healthcare decisions. Trucking has been in the front lines throughout the pandemic, delivering PPE, medical supplies, food, clothing, fuel, and even vaccines themselves. Thanks to this ruling, our industry will currently continue. Now, to deliver these critical goods to our nation as it recovers from the pandemic and we move forward in our economy. So that ruling currently kind of stays the situation and allows us to move forward, but I'm going to tell you, it's a very fluid situation. I don't know that it's going to hold up. I don't know that it's going to stay that way. So with that, one of the things that we noticed when doing our research is, so the Mexico and Canada borders have been affected as of right now. And they've been affected a little bit differently. I'm going to talk about the Canada border. The Canada border, because of their Prime Minister Trudeau and their mandates, and the ones that implemented by the United States that were in effect as of yesterday, you cannot cross the border unless you're fully vaccinated and can prove it. So there is currently a convoy that left different parts of Canada of trucks. The movement itself is about 79,000 truckers, you guys, making their way over this week to Ottawa. We had footage, but we weren't able to show that footage this morning because they're saying, Canada is saying, that it is possibly going to affect a third of their truckers that bring stuff across the United States border. So that's the current situation in Canada. I know that the convoy started this morning. There's another one scheduled for next Saturday. And I know that there are truckers that we've all seen videos coming out about truckers who, you know, they hung it up and they're done. Until the mandates change, they cannot work. And so they're estimating between 39,000 and 80,000 truckers are not vaccinated in Canada to be able to come across and move goods into the United States. So this is a very fluid situation. We will keep on that. That's the situation with Canada and the Supreme Court as it stands right now. And what are you seeing?
Well, currently in Mexico, there is no plan to mandate vaccinations. A quote from the Mexican president says, "Vaccines are not a part of our government's long-term health and safety plans." So at this moment, of course, like we said, this is a fluid situation. This is an ever-changing topic. But at this point, there is no mandate to enter Mexico. Travelers truckers can all enter unvaccinated. Testing requirements, though, are different. It depends on your destination within Mexico, and that's to be done up to 2 days before departure. Now, of course, if you go into Mexico to come back into the United States, you are required to have your vaccines.
Right.
So it's a double-edged sword. It really is.
Well, now let me ask you this. So one of the, I'm going to see if I can find where I found it. Hold on for just a minute. Okay, so what I read when I pulled up the Department of Homeland Security, the actual mandate that went into effect as of yesterday, what it states on this from the website, this is where I got this information, is that it affects land and ferry ports of entry for the U.S. and Mexico, U.S. and Canada, that you have to have fully vaccinated with proof. I mean, you've got to have several things. There's a couple requirements on there, but there was a but. Now, the mandate says anybody traveling for both essential and non-essential reasons. Currently, United States truckers, they can go into Mexico and back into the United States without proof. Truckers are the current exemption, that they can go into Mexico and come back out without proof because Mexico hasn't had their mandate implemented to stop us from going into their country. And because we are U.S. citizens, we can come back into our own country without proof. Canada, you cannot. Canada has said you can't come into our country unless you have vaccination proof. So on the border situation, that's where that's at. Okay, here's the steps. If you're not a U.S. resident and you're wanting to go across the border and come back in, so currently, and then if you are wanting to come into the United States from Mexico and from Canada, you have to verbally attest to your vaccination status. You have to provide proof of a CDC-approved COVID-19 vaccination passport as outlined by the CDC website or proof of vaccination. You have to provide a valid Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative compliant document, which is a passport, a trusted traveler program card, enhanced tribal card, and be prepared to, this was the very ending, to present any other relevant documents requested by Customs. So they've locked it down. As of yesterday, if you don't have this stuff, you're not coming into the United States as an essential employee or not. It doesn't matter. Yep. That's where that stands. So that's what's the current situation on the Supreme Court's ruling that went into effect last week, and the actual border mandates that went into effect yesterday. And tell me what you're seeing as far as individual companies within the United States that we've found information on so far.
Well, I have a couple. We live in a world where everybody has a choice, and sometimes that choice is taken away from us. So I have in my research, I've contacted some people, and I do have a statement from a trucking company. And I'm going to quote, "There is no doubt that the vaccine mandate is going to affect the trucking industry. As a company owner, I am aware and very vigilant of the changing climate concerning the vaccine mandates. For our drivers, getting the vaccine is a personal choice, and at this time, there is no plan to mandate any of our drivers to have the vaccine. What effect this will have on our cross-border freight is yet to be seen. There are drivers who are vaccinated and willing to take loads into Canada. This will take planning and an understanding with our customers as to added time to secure a driver who is vaccinated. This will also cause a loss of freight to some of our other drivers. Those who choose to not be vaccinated have made a personal stand, and while I respect their choice, businesses must find a way to adapt and to continue to deliver freight." that particular company has owner-operators as well as company drivers, and their stand is the same for both. Okay. Um, Taking a look at a more nationwide picture, FedEx has, effective January 20th, so just a couple of days ago, suspended their money back guarantee for deliveries, and their
Right.
statements all over their individual location websites, their main website is delays, 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 delays. From locations not being able to receive packages because they're not vaccinated, they have employees who are sick, et cetera, et cetera. There's delays on every end from start to finish. XPO is also sending out alerts about delays, and they are not requiring vaccinations at this time, but it will come. UPS, some locations are even closed because employees do not want to have the vaccination. UPS store locations are skeleton crews, and that affects packages. Of course, if you can't take your package and drop it off, the driver can't come and get it and take it somewhere. So it's not just truck drivers. It's
Right.
everybody before it gets to the truck drivers also.
So it's definitely a logistics situation. It's not just the truck drivers, but it's a logistics thing that is having ripple effects throughout the entire process.
Exactly. I have a something that I read while we've been talking, and I thought it was pretty important. So this is a statement from FedEx's CEO Fred Smith.
Okay.
He says we are ready. He said one thing that we have to take a concern of is manpower. He spent a couple of days visiting the front lines of his shipping empire in Memphis. He's acutely aware of how many employees do not want to get the mandated vaccine. People are trying to figure out whether or not they can avoid the vaccine mandate, whether they have to abide by it, and whether or not they have any recourse if their employer tries to fire them over it. FedEx is Memphis's largest employer with 30,000 workers locally.
Wow.
Yeah. Mr. Smith is quoted as saying, "I am vaccinated. We have made every effort to get employees to get the vaccine. We pay bonuses to those who choose to get vaccinated. But the people that make this country's logistics systems go, a large percentage, simply do not want it. We respect that, but the essential supply chain must continue." So it's very similar thoughts across the board, whether it's a major employer or a smaller carrier. The thoughts are very similar.
And I'm seeing that too. So I also reached out to a smaller company just for their personal perspective. And this is a company who is under 50 trucks, all owner operators, and then they have just employees that are staff inside less than 30. And so this was a very small company, and this was their response. We have not been required to have employees or contracted drivers vaccinated, and I've not read anything in the few journals that I get on my email about this situation. We have also personally not run into any issues with customers, brokers, where needing a vaccine card is required to load or unload. So that's not something that smaller company has run into yet. He went on from a personal standpoint to say, from a personal standpoint, I am completely against a mandate in the United States of America that I grew up in. Also, I have zero comprehension of why people that have taken the vaccine think they are at risk from people who have not, unless the vaccine is useless anyway. These are, again, his opinion. Yes. I believe in my own immune system and feel that is my choice. I also feel that not enough is known about the vaccines, side effects, and I don't know why I would allow that to be injected into my body when my personal risk at being having big complications from zero is low. So this is a gentleman who does run a trucking company, and his physical health personally is good. He doesn't have underlying conditions. He doesn't have other issues. And so from his personal standpoint, he's saying that, that's his opinion. He's saying that as an industry, he hasn't seen it affect his small company yet. But he is adamant about that it needs to be choice. He is saying, for what it's worth, it will have a major impact if it is forced and mandated versus choice. So that was that one statement. Some other statements coming through from huge big carriers. Let me just read a couple of these. Give me just a minute here. So this is Hub Group's CEO, David Yeager. There will be a certain number of truck drivers that just feel strongly from a personal perspective that they don't want to take the vaccine. I am not anti-vaxxer. I am vaccinated. I encourage people to also get vaccinated. But if you try to mandate that to what can be a very independent group, I hope common sense prevails. I hope people understand that realistically, the truck drivers throughout this pandemic have been out there and getting products to the store shelves. I hope that's taking into an account and that we get an exemption. That's what he is saying. He, as a CEO, is pushing that we are not mandated, that we get the exemption we need to be able to not disrupt the logistics situation when it comes to moving goods. Old Dominion has come out and says, excuse me, I'm just saying, as far as the mandate goes, that would be extremely difficult, in my opinion. It's either get vaccinated or do the testing for these larger corporations that have 100 or more employees. We're still working on that, trying to figure out how we can accomplish testing the number of folks that we would have to test every single week according to this mandate. Extremely, extremely difficult to accomplish. I don't want to say impossible, but there are definitely challenges that I think are going to be very difficult to overcome if that mandate is in place and truck drivers are not put in an exemption. Schneider CEO Mark Rourke comes out and says, it'll be problematic, particularly as we would estimate between 40 and 55% of our drivers are vaccinated. So at Schneider, he's saying only half of their fleet is vaccinated. And so if that mandate goes into effect, Schneider, I don't know what their numbers are, but half of them won't be able to work. He says, so we're putting a series of steps together, scenarios on how we would deal with the various elements of what that mandate would look like and the ripple effects going on. But he says it's all going to be extremely difficult to execute. It's going to be very costly to execute, and it's going to be disruptive. It'll just, no matter how they do it, if this goes into effect, it will disrupt the supply chain. These major carriers, they can do everything that they can in their power to adhere to the mandates of requiring their employees to be vaccinated or doing a weekly testing. But because of the sheer number of employees that they have, it's going to be disruptive trying to get it all into place. USA Truck CEO James Reed, we started when the president first outlined his desire to do this. We've been proactive as an executive management team, having conversations about, okay, how are we going to gather this data? How are we going to make the vaccines more readily accessible for our employees? How can we work with our vendors to provide testing sites? So we're moving ahead. We're trying to be proactive in the event that it is implemented. We've got real cogent operational plans to go execute on that. So they're working on it. Werner, we are certainly pro-vaccine, and we were setting up on-site vaccination clinics and doing a variety of things to get our vaccination rate up with our truck drivers. But I'll tell you that I think we are not dissimilar from the industry, which is probably in that 50% unvaccinated range, potentially even a little higher than that. We are preparing and thinking about and modeling what it would look like to route and test. Those costs are very prohibitive. If that was to be the route that's taken, if everybody's mandated, they're really worried about that. You already talked about XPO and his situation, and so in this specific article, this is what they're saying. They're bracing for impact. The larger companies are bracing for impact. Roughly 50% of drivers are currently vaccinated, Heller said, citing a survey the American Trucking Association conducted recently on its members, of the remaining half that is unvaccinated, 62% plan to stay that way. And so it's a very divided situation. He says that means that approximately 37% of the workforce could leave, could stop the trucking industry in its tracks, with a shortage of at minimum 90,000 drivers. 1% to 2% of that could be a huge problem. So I don't know about you guys. I'm going to interject something real quick here. I think that was the end of the ones I had for the actual companies. But, and Ange, you tell me your thoughts. Currently, in our area, Walmart, their shelves have been already empty or limited for a couple of weeks now. Some of our other chains that are more localized, like Brookshire's, Kroger, Super One, those ones aren't as affected. They have more supply. So it's making me wonder if, because Walmart has such a bigger distribution system, if that's why they're affected a little bit worse. I don't know. So that's kind of the current situation. We're going to go to commercial real quick, guys, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about this hot topic. Awesome. We sure love Teresa at Truckers Talk Line, you guys. And I'm going to tell you, as a company here at Trucking Life, we are supporting that girl 110% because she's offering a service to the trucking industry that is invaluable. And, you know, so head on over to Truckers Talk Line, take a look at what she's offering, support that girl and those endeavors in every way you can. She's doing a huge service, you guys, to this industry. So thank you very much for that commercial. That was an awesome commercial, Jed. All right. So you know what? We want to come back and we want to have a little bit more personal conversation, Angie and I do. You guys, we're going to show you that we come from different points of view and different stances on the situation, but that we're coming together as common goal and common viewpoints. And that's what we're going to talk about. You know, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Brooklyn Rogers. My husband and I live and love and truck, and you know, Johnny Dean. We have been team truck drivers for 5.5 years together. Johnny has 33 years in the industry. I personally have 7 years over the road, 17 years as a professional driver. Okay, I am the CEO and president here at Trucking Life, and we are just barely getting started, you guys, at launching all the things that we have coming forward as a group. You know, we talked last week, you guys, about our awesome board of directors. There's 5 ladies working their butts off to bring you current, updated information. Obviously, we're all individuals. We're all coming from a different standpoint. My status, guys, I'm unvaccinated and have every intention of staying that way. With that, though, I am taking a ton of additional steps to protect my body and those around me. When I'm out in public and I'm, you know, with in a place that, you know, asks people to stay masked, you know, while they're around other customers or retailers or whatever, I do that. You know, I do wear my mask if they're asked or it's required. I don't if it's not. If it's, and a lot of Texas is still no mask. It's not something that's being enforced. I personally, like I said, am not going to get vaccinated at this time. I have no intention. Johnny Dean feels the same way. But the common ground that we have as a group of individuals here at Trucking Life is that it's going to affect the industry. It's going to affect all of us, not only as people that work within the trucking industry, but as consumers. Guys, we're already seeing shelves empty, right? And so, you know, there are definitely going to be ripple effects of these decisions. So the information that we want to bring to you as a company, and the common ground that we feel is it's got to be choice. You can't mandate this industry. The truck drivers need to be exempt. That's a current viewpoint that Ange and I both agree upon, and that we are really trying to just put out there, that even though we have different stances individually about how we feel about the vaccine itself and the mandates, what we're really trying to put out there is a networked and agreed upon situation that if you mandate this industry, you're going to see ripple effects you're not ready for. And we really want to push for that pro-choice and for people to be able to make those decisions themselves. Ange, talk to me about you and your situation.
Well, no, for everybody who doesn't know me, I am Angela Clark, and I'm known as Miami Pink Panther, and I am vaccinated.
Yep.
And I chose to get vaccinated one simple reason. I wanted to be able to travel. And without doing that, I can't travel. And I wasn't going to let that stop me. Besides being vaccinated, you know, I am not under any kind of misconception that I cannot get COVID. Being vaccinated does not mean that I won't get it. Hopefully what it does mean is that when I do, or if I do, I will not get as sick. And that's, you know, I'm not under any misconceptions. But besides getting vaccinated, I do a lot of other things. Since the beginning of the pandemic, I chose to start taking supplements. I take vitamin C, zinc, and baby aspirin. And that is to combat any possibilities of blood clots or illnesses. You know, it's just boosting my immune system. That's what it is.
Right.
I choose to wear my mask a lot more than other people do. And I have always been, you know, very multicultural. I understand the use of a mask from the Asian side of the world, where they've been using masks for decades, and they use it to protect you. They wear a mask when they're sick, even with a cold, with allergies, they wear a mask to protect everyone else. And I don't have a problem with that. Of course, the mask itches, it gets hot, it gets sweaty, I rip it off, and I'm like, yay! But I still am of the mind that it's one piece of the puzzle to help protect myself.
Well, and if you don't mind me, oh, sorry, I was just going to say, if you don't mind me interjecting too, and we're the same way in our household. You know, we're taking zinc, magnesium, vitamin C like there's no tomorrow, and even Pepsid AC just for personal reasons. Doing the same thing, trying to boost our own immune system. And I've always been a mama who, if my son is sick, he stays home. You know what I mean? So I understand that train of thought of, if you're sick with anything, you know, we lightly joke about that, you know, the flu went away, the common cold went away, allergies went away, you know, with COVID, because everything's getting labeled COVID. But realistically, you know, we really should be thinking along the lines, not just because of COVID. We should be thinking, you know, we need to be washing our hands. That should be common sense. Don't get me down that road. Washing your hands after you use the bathroom. I mean, please, for the love of Pete, you know, if you don't do that, please do. So anyway, but otherwise, I mean, so, there are things that as individuals, we've had common sense or our own individual values or morals in place prior to this pandemic, right? And so if I'm sick, I don't want to share.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to intentionally try and share that with people. And so I understand what you were just talking about, that over in Asia, that is a normal practice, for them to have done that. They've been doing it for decades. So I understand that point of view. And I agree with you too, that as individuals, we have a responsibility to bolster our own immune system, not rely on a vaccine necessarily 100%. You got to do your own stuff, guys. You got to do the things to make your body healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So, sorry, go ahead. Oh, I think I lost her for just a minute. If she comes back, we'll see if she's got anything additional. But I want to go ahead and touch base on love. Sorry, guys, I've got all my notes here, so that's why that keeps coming up. So Love's is the first national travel stop that's offering employees an incentive to receive the vaccine. They have not come out, with harsh requirements. They had a mask requirement in place for their employees that weren't fully vaccinated, and they had notes on their doors asking people to wear a mask within their store if they're not vaccinated or if they're sick or have symptoms or whatever, not to come in. So they have had that in place for a long time. Just the other day, they actually ended that requirement. I think it was on Friday. They are trying to offer on-site COVID-19 vaccinations opportunities for their employees in Oklahoma. And I'm talking about Love's, and so that's one thing that they're doing. Another thing that Love's is doing is they're offering incentives for their employees that get vaccinated. They're giving them a $75 bonus. So it's you can take that and read that however you want to. That's just Love's current standpoint on that situation. And that's where they stand. Did you say that you found some information about Pilot Flying J?
I did. Pilot Flying J and TA Petra's statements are very similar. And so I'm going to kind of just lump them all into one, because they have not really come out and said much about what their plans are. I think that they're waiting to be told that they have to.
Right.
But their statements are that, in an effort to keep everyone safe, they're still requiring masks and for both employees and customers. And they will continue to be disinfecting within the store. Yeah, they will continue to be disinfecting as they have been since the beginning. And I will tell you from personal experience, it really depends on where you're at. I can walk into the TA right here without a mask and not have anybody question me.
Yep.
So it really does depend on what state you're in. It's a good place to start, but if the state that you're in is not going to enforce it, then you're not going to be able to require it.
Right. And, just as a side note, according to that, just because you're in Texas right now and so am I, so of the states that were leading that lawsuit that the Supreme Court just stayed, that they basically had a win, Texas, Mississippi, and Louisiana. They were the top three with the ATA pushing, saying, you know what, you can't mandate truck drivers or we're going to have a massive issue. If you require it, we're going to have a massive disruption in logistics. So they were definitely part of the states. And so that makes sense that you're going into truck stops here and you're not seeing it being enforced to require, masks in their stores. So that would be that situation. Any other thoughts about that before we run to our next commercial?
No, well, I do want to say that while I have made the choice to be vaccinated, I do not hold my choices against anyone else. Okay.
Oh,
I came to
absolutely.
see you and Johnny yesterday, and I gave Johnny the biggest hug. And, you know,
Yep.
we joked about, you know, him not being able to hug me because I'm one of those
You're right.
vaccinated people, you know, but I have respect for everyone's choices. And I do not want to push what I believe and what I feel on someone else. And that in turn, I think, garners a little bit of respect for myself that
Right.
we
Right.
can have this discussion and get the information out to the people who need the information and have different points of view. You know,
And
this
it's
does not
okay.
make or break our friendship or my friendship with anyone
Not at
else.
all. Not at all. And I think that's important. I mean,
Yeah.
you and I kind of had this discussion yesterday while we were talking about things, is that we, you know, even though we have a different stance on what we're choosing for our body, what we wholeheartedly agree on is not participating in cancel culture. You guys, we can't attack others
Correct.
because they're not doing what we are choosing to do. We can't punish others because they're making a different choice than we are. We have to still love each other and respect that point of view, and do it in a professional stance. You guys, we can't let it divide us. There's so much in this world that's trying to divide us. And
Correct.
as truckers, you know, as humans, I mean, we need to not allow that. But as truckers, we definitely need to take that stance. We need to be here for the industry. This is a profession. This is a career. This is a culture, and we are providing goods to the world, right, you guys? So we need to come together to make that happen. No more division. No more division. We need to stop the cancel culture and denying people our attention or our respect because they're choosing differently than we are. We got to stop that. Stop it in its tracks, in my opinion.
Yeah. We have to.
Yeah. Right.
We have to. This is not just a U.S. Canada issue. Out of the 195 countries in the world, 104 of them have current vaccine mandates or testing mandates. So this is a worldwide issue. There are truckers in every country, small and large, and this affects everybody.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Let's go ahead and run to commercial. Let's do our second commercial, Jed. And then we're going to come back and we're going to...
Are you tired of overpaying the IRS year after year? Let me find you every possible legal deduction to reduce your tax liability. Specializing in over-the-road drivers, owner-operators, and their families, I can help you. We have a free mobile app and same-day cash advances available. Contact me, Sarah Darling, at 903-932-8249 or email sarah.darling@lgmfinancialconsulting.com. We are an authorized IRS e-file.
Awesome. Thank you. And everybody, just as a shout out, the Sarah Darling is my sister, and she is offering these services. Sorry, I got to fix this eyebrow. She's offering these services. Jed, can you switch it? There we go. She's offering those services to truck drivers and small business owners alike, you guys. So I know everybody's getting their 1099s in the mail right now or their W-2s. If you don't have somebody doing your taxes or bookkeeping services, Sarah really wants to get you guys on track and organized. So let her help you if she can. Reach out to her if you get an opportunity. All right, and let's start summing some stuff up. I'm going to pull something up really quick here. But go ahead and tell me what your thoughts are. I've got a couple of thoughts to address too.
No, that's okay. You got to tell me keep your camera or your phone out of the camera because I'm looking at notes and not realizing.
I know, me too. I was like this. I was like, oh, sorry. You know.
All right. Well, okay. Listen, I'm going to sum up my thoughts. That this is a personal issue. Okay, we all have a choice to make. Whether that choice is about to keep our employment, I don't think that that's fair. I don't believe that this should be a mandate to anyone.
No.
Let me make that clear, okay? My choices are for me. It's not to keep my job or to do anything special. It's for me. I think that everyone, this will continue to be a hot topic, and this is not over. We are not done talking about this. Okay?
We're just getting started.
At all, but we are. We're just getting started. So, I love every one of you, vaccinated or not. It does not matter. I will still hug you.
Yep, that's right.
Matt, not gonna stop me.
Yep, I agree, and that's how I feel too. So there's a couple things I wanted to touch on that I didn't get a chance to read earlier in my notes. On that Supreme Court ruling, the ETS mandate, that they stayed, I want to clarify that just for anybody who doesn't know. So the Supreme Court stopped the mandate and stayed it for the temporary being, and that just happened the other day, for the companies who have over 100 employees, requiring them to either be vaccinated or tested every week. That is what's currently being fought in the Supreme Court, and it's currently not being enforced. Now, we read that some of the companies are still choosing to implement that stuff, knowing that it may get overturned in the Supreme Court. So they're choosing to, address that as a company. Individually, they're all choosing different things. But let me read this to you. Carhartt CEO Mark Valade announced on Friday that in an internal all-staff email that the company's vaccine mandate, which went into effect earlier in this month, will stay in place. We put workplace safety at the very top of our priority list, and the Supreme Court's decision doesn't impact our core values. An unvaccinated workforce is both a people and business risk that our company is willing to take. So, Carhartt CEO Mark Valade, he's definitely come out on a stance, and he's got an opinion. That's for sure. So now back to the situation with Canada. On Friday, the Premier of Canada's Alberta province called on the federal government in Canada to pause any COVID-19 mandates for crossing the border. He is seeing this as a huge issue, and like we said, we've seen footage of convoys running full force today. Truckers that companies say will disrupt supply chain and fuel inflation prices. So far, the mandate has cost Canadian trucking companies almost 10% of their workforce. Companies are hiking wages to try to entice people to stay and lure new owner-operators in what they are claiming as their worst labor shortage ever. Okay, so that's just some additional topics that we've come up with, you guys. And I want to reiterate what Ange was saying, that it's not about our personal choice that I'm most concerned about. It definitely needs to be a personal choice. What I'm concerned about is that by the government getting involved and saying it's no longer a personal choice and mandating this situation, it's going to have massive ripple effects, you guys. It's going to affect us like I don't think anybody's prepared for. What are your thoughts on that? And then, Ange, let's address, I know there's a lot of people who've had comments coming up, and they want to say something. They've definitely got an opinion, and want to address those. So give us just a sec, guys, and tell me what your thoughts are, and then let's see some of those comments that came up.
Yeah. No, this is not over. This is going to be an ongoing topic, and I, personally, I've been home for quite a while. Everybody, that knows me knows that. And so I haven't seen the shortages at stores. I'm about to go grocery shopping right after we're done here, and I may find that. I don't know what I'm going to find. And so I'm prepared for that. I've had water in the truck for months, and just in case I don't find something out here.
Right.
But we'll see. The biggest thing for me right now has been oil. I cannot get a gallon of Rotella 540 synthetic oil to save my life.
Interesting.
I mean, I'd have to leave some dead bodies in the wake to find some, okay?
That's crazy.
Just to do an oil change. If I can't do an oil change on my truck, what am I going to do? Not go to work?
Right.
You know?
And,
what am I going to do?
And that's part of that, that ripple effect. And that's what we're talking about.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. I ended up ordering it. And I didn't get what I wanted. I got a substitute. I got a off-name synthetic oil, but that's what I run in my truck, and I'm not going to change now. I've got to figure it out. I've got to figure out another way to get what I need, because not going to work is a choice, and I'm not going to be forced to not go to work because I can't find oil for my truck.
Yeah, I want to come back to that, but Jed, go ahead and pop up some of these comments. And can you see the comments that come up on the bottom fully? Sometimes I can't see the whole comment.
I sure can.
Go ahead and read that comment, and then let's address one by one.
Okay, so this one that says the Canadian, I'm not finding it on the side screen here. That the Canadian drivers are standing up for themselves. Good for them. That was from Nathaniel. Jane, big shout out to Jane. She says, just this past week, a local lab closed due to staff shortages.
Oh, I remember that.
Doug said, I am fully vaccinated, but that being said, go back in history to the end of World War II when we sprayed hundreds of thousands with DDT, and I am sure we told them it was safe. So think about that.
That's true. That's an interesting reference.
Yeah, that's true. Dawn, shout out to Dawn.
Hi, Dawn.
I work in the healthcare field. It is very scary since as a dental office, bacteria starts in the mouth. We wear masks all day long. We tell our patients, if you're sick, stay home. And masks are mandatory to come into our office. Hey, you know what? I've been to the dentist since this pandemic, and I don't know how they do that. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting there, gagging and, having stuff in my mouth, just scraping it around. I don't know how they do that,
Well, and let me make a comment real quick.
Many decisions.
Oh, sorry, hon. I was just going to say, on Dawn's comment, I just want to reiterate, too, that I've read articles about that the bacteria and infections that get into our body and the viruses, they start in your nose and your mouth, okay? So one of the things that I've read as those preventative measures, like you and I were talking about, taking supplements, things like that, is the nasal rinse. That NeilMed saline nasal rinse. We've been doing that daily, because trying to just, anything that we picked up while we were out and about, to try to flush that out before it ever enters our body. That's just another proactive measure to try to stay safe.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
Carol says, I don't care if people get vaccinated or if they get the flu shot. It's their business. But I have a right to go where I want and not have people be sick. So if you're sick at all with colds, flu, COVID, stay home and stay away from people.
And you know what? That is good information, whether we're talking COVID or the flu or whatever. You got diarrhea, stay the frick home. I don't want it. You know what I mean?
Stay home. That's right. Stay home. I agree. Yes. I think we have become a culture where we feel like we can do no wrong. If we're sick, doesn't matter. Let me go to Walmart.
Yeah.
We don't have personal responsibility anymore. Right.
We feel entitled to do whatever we want, regardless of anybody else. And realistically, guys, that's just my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. But if you're sick, keep your butt home until you're not.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I mean that's my opinion as well. Like I said, the Asian culture has been doing this for decades. They protect the others. They cover themselves. They stay home when they're sick. Our entitlement here in the U.S., I think, has gone too far.
Well, and, and let me kind of play devil's advocate to what I just said. Let me, kind of flip both coins here. When we were on the road, so Johnny and I got COVID in November, not this last November, but the year before. We, as a household, we all got it. Okay. We were home for 2 weeks so we did the 14-day quarantine back then, which was what, they said if you got it. We did that at home. At some point, we had to go back out on the road. We still had some symptoms that were, lasting. It wasn't like we were feeling better automatically at day 14. Johnny and I chose to quarantine in the truck for the most part, but as a truck driver, I mean, you have to stop for fuel. You know what I mean? You've got to stop for food. You've got to stop. What we did is we made a choice to limit that content or that contact. So even though it was 6 weeks later and, we still maybe had a cough or we still maybe had, anything, whatever. And sorry, my throat's scratching. I need a drink. But anyway, we would mask up. We made sure to wash our hands, you know what I mean? And we didn't go eat in restaurants. We ordered it to go, picked it up, took it out to our truck. So we still took steps to self-quarantine and not just be overly, I don't even know, irresponsible, I guess is the way to say it. We tried to contain it, even though we were still trying to do our job. So that's just a thought there. Okay, we got more comments?
Yes, and I love this comment. This is from Doug, and he says many have lost respect for their fellow human beings.
It's sad but true.
It is.
Yeah,
it's very sad. And I think if I could sum up everything from my point of view, is that to respect others, because it doesn't matter how you feel about this if you don't have respect.
Right.
It's lost.
I think something that I would really like to say to sum it up is that, this pandemic has been taken political, and there are powers that be on both sides of the spectrum here that use it to drive fear, into everybody. And that fear is what causes people to lose that empathy for their fellow human being. That fear is what's driving the division. That fear is what is telling people that their normal common sense of how to treat their neighbor is going to be put on the back burner because, now I'm scared shitless that, we're all going to die or we're all going to run out of food. And so I better just freak out right now. And we got to calm down. We've got to have empathy, love, and respect for each other, regardless of our decisions, and unite. We can't let them divide us. That's the basic how it needs to be, in my opinion.
Yeah. We have a comment from Ed, from Big Rig Ed. He says mRNA vaccines are going to be the future of a lot of different diseases going forward, not just COVID. The unscientific anti-vax campaign is really unfortunate. We should have all been celebrating the development of this.
Oh, I lost her. And I can't read all of that. It says that we all should have been celebrating. I can't read that whole comment. It's not pulling up right on my phone. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to see if I can see it better now. No, I can't read Ed's whole comment, guys. Bear with me. And then I just did something else here with my phone. But Ed's not wrong. And, just on that same topic, I think we lost Anne for just a second. But on that same topic, not to go total, off to left field or whatever, but I did watch a show where one of the main scientists for the mRNA antibody, vaccines and, immunizations. He canceled from freaking Instagram and Twitter. They booted him. He's the developer. He was the scientist behind all of it, and he's getting, that goes back to cancel culture. If we listen to cancel culture, the scientists who are developing the information we need are not going to be able to be heard. So just FYI on that. All right. Well, this is a hot topic, guys. This is going to be something we're talking about for a while. We're going to go ahead and say that Wednesday night's show, we're also going to have some more people on here discussing what's going on in this industry, in that situation, and we'll let them give you their point of views. On Wednesday night, we'll go ahead and, keep this going because it's not over. It's just beginning, where the mandates are just being put into effect. The Supreme Court ruling just recently happening. This stuff is just beginning. So I'd love you guys to continue the conversation in our comments on Trucking Life or the page in which you're watching our live stream right now. Keep the conversation going. Let's talk about it, you guys. Let's talk about how it's affecting you. Let's talk about your opinion. Let's talk about what is going to happen in the future. And let's just keep that conversation going. I think that's where we're at. And what do you think? That this is a hot topic, and we'll keep it going Wednesday night, and encourage people to just keep talking about it on our comments with the show.
Yeah, exactly. Come on the Facebook page. Leave your comments. Leave your questions. Maybe we can get to them on Wednesday night. But yeah, this is not over. This is something that we will continue to be talking about.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I think that we're going to go ahead and show one more commercial. And what do you got to say about us looking for some streamers?
Yay. You know what? We are always looking for streamers. If you've ever about doing it, come give it a try. You'll join me, that truckin' chick, Livin' Lovin' Truckin', and the misadventures of Pat and Heather, among others. Come show the world your life through the windshield.
All right, let's run.
Have you ever thought of live streaming your life behind the wheel? Trucking Life is looking for live streamers. Join Miami Pink Panther, The Misadventures of Pat and Heather, Livin' Lovin' Truckin', That Truckin' Chick, and more. Email us at truckinglife.live@gmail.com for info on how to become part of our growing team of live streamers.
Awesome. You guys, I cannot give enough credit to Jed Mitchell, my little brother, you guys, for all of his help with our commercials, for our being our back show production and, production manager, designer, development, all the things, right?
Everything.
Oh my gosh, he is doing such a freaking fabulous job for us. And I can't say that I love him any less. I'll tell you that right now. He's such a great contributor to our shows and to our company. I also want to give a huge shout out to Jane, you guys. Jane Furtwängler has been our research assistant and is our research assistant for our shows. And we truly appreciate her contribution as well. Anything else you want to add before we say goodbye?
No, just everybody, when you're making your opinion known, do it respectfully. I'm not here to push my beliefs. Yeah, I'm not here to push my beliefs on you. Don't push beliefs on me, but we can still talk about it. Okay?
Yeah.
And I second everything about Jane. Jane, watch the credits, girlfriend.
Yes. You guys don't push goodbye when we say our goodbyes. Watch the final credits here. It's kind of cool. But yeah, I definitely reiterate what Ange just said, you guys. Let's have these topics. Let's talk about what's happening, future, possibilities, and let's unite together in conversation. Let's do it respectfully. Please,
Amen.
let's do it respectfully and professionally, and just talk about where we're going and solutions.
Yep.
But with that said, you know what? This topic's not over, guys. We're a couple minutes over our hour. We're going to go ahead and close it down. But we definitely want to hear your comments. Please keep, commenting after the show. Go to the link and just keep, having this conversation. Wednesday night, I can guarantee you, Ange and I chose to start out this topic because we knew that her and I could present facts in a very diplomatic and less emotional
Yes.
point of view. But we're going to unleash the guys and anybody else who's wanting to participate in this conversation on Wednesday night. And I don't know if I should have worded it like that, unleash, because we gotta rein them in a little bit, with that professionalism. But
that's not your place. That's not your place. I'm the mean lady. Okay, remember.
That's true. I forgot. We gotta let you do that. That's right. But you know what? This topic's not over, guys. We love you so much. We're so glad that you tuned in today. It's not over. Let's continue talking about it. Stay tuned for these credits. I want you to see, Jane's cute little picture. But we love you guys, and thanks so much for hanging out with us at Trucking Life today.
Thank you, everyone.